best man Miro, which they're still using that in his intro, the best man. So I don't know if they're going to keep that for a while or what, but he is definitely the best champ right now because he's the meanest one there for sure.
Yep.
And this match, leading up to it, they did a great job hyping it. They did a great job with the pre-promos on social media. Both Uno and Miro had some great promos leading up to it. And the constant Brody Lee tributes to during the whole match. Thank you for the shirt, RIP, during the whole match and before it with all the promos and stuff. So how much it meant to them, I like that. And then -1 having part in this match as well. But other than we know Miro's dominance and toughness, he wasn't even flinching at the Uno chops and just his angriness. But got to give credit for Uno, man. That guy put up a good fight. He's one that we talked about in our pre-show. He's very underrated for someone you see on paper or you just see walking.
If I
the
put
ring.
a mask on, you'd think okay, Crayfish, he got into AEW.
Right.
He doesn't have that from a visual point perspective. You're right. You put him versus Miro in the ring, and you're like, oh god, this poor guy, he's gonna get destroyed, right? I mean, Miro has got muscles that are bulging from his ears. And Uno is just it seems like a regular guy, right? He's just out there following his dream.
But he's not regular in the ring.
No, that's the thing. That's the thing. He's incredibly athletic you get shocked when you see what this guy can do. The hustle that he put in, and you could tell he brought his A game in this match with Miro, and that was what I loved about it. SPD, you have a dominant force like Miro, and the way he's being presented right now,
right?
This is what's great about it. You naturally start to wonder who can stop him. Who's going to be the guy who can take Miro off his mantle? Who can
stop the path of Miro?
That
needs to be his slogan,
and you're right. And when you have he put Lance Archer down at the pay-per-view, you start to wonder who's going to be the guy who can beat Miro. And this is a great visual. I mean, I know you see in the background, Miro is choking out Evil Uno while -1 and the rest of the Dark Order are watching on the ramp.
Literally within arm's reach. They can't even help him.
Oh, and just leaning into what a jerk Miro is, and just how non-caring he is about anything other than the gold. Miro has become, changing from the best man, right? He has become, I know you hated it, when he was Kip Sabian's best friend and sidekick, basically.
Right.
His character has changed so much. He went from caring about video games and Kip Sabian and Penelope's wedding to now being a guy who only cares about hurting people and holding on to the TNT title as long as possible. It's a beautiful transformation. Angry Miro is exactly what we want out of this company. When you put that guy out there as a wrecking ball, you have gold. You have absolute gold.
Absolutely. I mean, this was one of the better matches. I mean, in that trios match, there's so many good matches on this card, but this one was so convincing back and forth, a lot of different layers to it. But obviously, we know that Miro's not losing that gold anytime soon. And so to watch these convincing victories in a way by opponents that are, worthy of an match, not just essentially a squash, it's going to be fun. We're going to see this probably for weeks and weeks and weeks going ahead. Who do you think will challenge Miro next? Do you think it's going to be another run through the Dark Order, which they did with Darby, which I don't necessarily support? I love the Dark Order, 100%. I'm in the Dark Order joining it, but I feel like you can't run through them again and have everyone come up short. Do you see any immediate challengers in the near future that pop up?
Well, that's the thing, man. I mean, you just watching him in the ring and how it's going, you really start to wonder, who can dethrone Miro? And right now, no one is coming to mind, bro. I mean, I don't want to dodge the question.
Sure.
But there's no one that clearly stands out as a guy who could take this dude down. I mean, Miro is from pure physicality and just mental, like in the way that he approaches the ring.
Mm-hmm.
This dude there's no wasted motion. JR was talking about that on commentary. There's no wasted motion with Miro. Everything he does is with a purpose.
Right.
His offense there's even when it spills to the outside, there's no stopping him. I mean, he's tossing people over the barricade. He's launching them into the steps.
Right.
Miro is just on a path right now of pure destruction. And when you see a guy who's brutal with his striking, can throw people around with his suplexes. I love the strength of his suplexes.
Brutal.
Athletic is all hell. There's really anybody who gets in the ring with him is going to be in for the match of their life. And so there's really no one that's emerging right now on the landscape as a clear-cut guy who could take the belt off him. Now, when you're talking about the way this path is going, certainly I'm a big advocate for 10. Every time I see him in the ring, I think that this is a guy who has it. He has a certain I think there's a draw to 10. And to see that visual, maybe Miro bullies the rest of the Dark Order for a little bit, and 10 is the guy who kind of doesn't back down.
Sure.
And that visual, right? The visual of 10 against Miro, 10's not going to be intimidated against Miro. That said, man, I don't see Miro going down anytime soon. So, we don't want to see the Dark Order get pushed aside. I don't like seeing them being fed to the wolves.
Sure, of course.
But I think that if the rumors are true that that Tommy End might be coming to AEW, I think that there's a natural fit with the Dark Order and Tommy End. And for me, wearing the Brody shirt, I love the Dark Order. I think that they're hilarious. I think that they do great work. And I think I commend them so much for being able to navigate an incredibly difficult chapter, something that could have, really broken them, broken their spirits and derailed the momentum that they were building. But they've navigated that difficult journey. They're incredibly funny. They're the home team of AEW. People want to see these guys succeed. That said, there is a massive hole that is felt with Brody's absence. And I think that the big piece of that is the intensity that Brody brought, right? Like the legitimacy that Brody brought, that fire that he brought, that was what made the Dark Order so great. Was Brody would, the papers and, how pissed he would get. It feels like they need somebody who isn't about just laughs and having a good time.
Course,
and they need that leader to emerge who could kind of get them focused again on not losing anymore. The Dark Order, when they started, was like, are you a loser? Are you tired of losing? Start winning, join the Dark Order. And if they can, and when we had our conversations with John Silver and Alex Reynolds, both guys talked about how they miss some of that cult vibe. They missed some. They felt like there was more story to be told with that original presentation of the Dark Order. And if that could go down that path, and Tommy End could come into AEW, if that could be something, talk about adding a serious edge back to the Dark Order, adding that cult vibe to the Dark Order, that would immediately refocus that group. And it could potentially be he could be the saving grace. He could be the new guy who challenges Miro. I love that idea. Other than that, bro, I don't know where you go with Miro as far as a clear-cut challenger, because I don't want to see Jungle Boy getting fed to that situation. I don't want to see, I think Orange Cassidy is kind of got his own thing going. You can't put these top stars in I think we learned from the Lance Archer situation. You can't put these top stars in these situations against Miro, because Miro's trajectory right now is there's no wavering. He's not going to be a guy who's going to nearly lose.
Sure.
He is absolutely dominant right now. So you have to be willing to say, whoever's stepping in the ring with him is going to get beaten down, right? And so I think that it's going to be a while before we start talking about who dethrones Miro.
Yeah, I don't have anyone in mind to dethrone Miro, but like the matches, I still stand by the ones I would want to see upcoming, because that or it's a for sure lock would be, you know, like a Penta and a Luchasaurus. So I think those would be two fun Hoss matches for Miro to really kind of, you know, show even more how dominant it is. Not that we need to know, but to go against someone like a Luchasaurus or a Penta versus a Dante Martin really is going to establish you in the ring much more stronger, in my opinion.